Fabricated Extrusion Company is a plastic extruder. We make custom profile and sheet extrusions. We would not be where we're sitting here today without DELMIAWORKS. We all know that. We could never have grown the way we've grown over the last 4 years. It's affected every aspect of our business, and it operates every aspect of our business. Order entry, production scheduling, inventory management, barcodes and scanners, shipping and accounting. We also utilize the real time to monitor production and productivity. We're totally dependent on it. Waste is something that we want to avoid in all aspects of our business. And so anytime we can implement a program like sustainability, it achieves greater productivity, greater profits, and it appeals to us as people. That's the main impetus. It's both financial and as human beings, we feel like it's the right thing to do. We are focused on sustainability in 4 major areas: water reclamation, energy consumption, trim buyback from our customers, and solar energy. In order to cool our extrusions, we would use millions of gallons of water per month. We now capture that water before it goes out to the sewer. We chill it, clean it, pump it back into the facility to continue to be used. A lot of our extrusions are used by our customers. They're fabricated or processed on the other end. And so that trim scrap gets collected. We will actually bring that back, and that way we help our customers keep it out of the landfill. The biggest thing we have going is our solar energy generation plants. We're getting about 35–40% of our power needs from solar. It actually gives us a leg up. Power is a big cost factor in our business. DELMIAWORKS system allows us to track our granules throughout our process. There's startup and tear down materials that get wasted as you're trying to get your profiles on size. And so that material then gets granulated and reprocessed. What the DELMIAWORKS system has done for us is allow us to track that in every step of our process. And by doing that, we know to the pound what's out on the floor. And so it's made us much more efficient, much more profitable, way less waste. Just by knowing where everything is, being more efficient in the reuse of it, we're able to capture the full value of those materials. And DELMIAWORKS has been a huge part in our success in that area. The other place that DELMIAWORKS is beneficial to us, it does have a lot to do with conservation, and that's conservation of time. DELMIAWORKS has changed the game for us as to how people do their job.
We have very dynamic production scheduling because we have so many different tools, and not only are they different tools, but we typically run different plastics or different colors through those same tools. With DELMIAWORKS, we've taken a lot of our processes from essentially a guessing game to data-driven processes. We're all in constant communication with each other on what is coming up next. And in that, we've had an enormous boost to our efficiency because it's cut down on time wasted.
Our sustainability program is our water reclamation, it's our energy conservation, it's our solar energy, it's our trim buyback program, it's managing our granules in our system and throughout our process. And DELMIAWORKS has been vital to making that a success.
Select Plastics is a full-service custom injection molding company. We take our customers' ideas from concept into reality. One of the biggest gains and the biggest goals we had for DELMIAWORKS was to know what our actual costs are. When I quote a job, I get information from my customers, which could be a sketch on a napkin, so to speak. And it's very difficult to put a dollar figure to a sketch on the napkin. And so what needs to happen first is to take that sketch and convert that into a CAD file. And Solidworks has been helping us with that for decades. I need a lot of information from this CAD file, like part volume, for instance, or critical dimensions. That data helps me with my information from DELMIAWORKS, where I get all the information from the quoting module to then combine the numbers and get to my customer with a precise quote very quickly.
When we receive a design or a concept from a customer, two-dimensional sketch for example, we'll go into Solidworks and we'll build that part up from that two-dimensional sketch. We'll use different extrusions and surface manipulations to build it up essentially from scratch. Once we have that part designed up as a three-dimensional part, we'll add draft and we'll start looking at it from a design and molding standpoint, design for manufacturing. If we get a part that's already a three-dimensional part, we'll perform a similar analysis. We'll also use tools within SolidWorks to look at part volumes, wall thicknesses, all of which are going to affect how well or how easily that part can be molded and how well the end result is going to match up with the customer's original design. We don't want our customer to have to go back to a different designer or a different design house or even necessarily to make these modifications themselves. So if they convey to us what it is that they need their part to do, we want to be able to take that part and modify it, redesign it, do whatever adjustments need to be made, eliminate the additional steps, and take it straight to tooling and injection molding. When we go into tooling design, we'll quote out all the materials and estimated labor costs. That's where we actually start rolling into the DELMIAWORKS side because we will capture all of the tooling, materials, labor costs, everything associated with that project, all within essentially one portfolio. That will help us to understand specifically what went into the project, and that's also the basis for everything from then on out, because at that point the project is assigned a tool number, it's assigned labor costs, and that transitions all the way through to manufacturing and injection molding.
We're doing quite a few products in the marine industry. We're also doing some products for the military. The biggest challenge where DELMIAWORKS is extremely helpful is the documentation and the repeatability. When these items are being set up in the system, we are required to follow strict cybersecurity protocols. And so the data has to be secure in the system. We have the server set up specifically that DELMIAWORKS and SolidWorks are all in a vault, so to speak, so nobody can access them who's not supposed to. But then it goes further into details like lot control. We have to document to our military customers exactly which material has been used, and we have to document the lot numbers. We have to send out COCs to our customers, and all that is being tracked within the system. The combination of DELMIAWORKS and SolidWorks is really extremely helpful for us.
MedBio is a medical device contract manufacturer. We are tier 1 supplier to OEMs. In the medical device arena, we do a lot of cardiovascular surgical products. The majority of our products are disposable, but implant products, when you walk off the operating room table and you have our product with you for a considerable amount of time. Every business goes through a transition or a change of ownership. Every business does. MedBio is in an industry that's being rapidly consolidated. So my competitors are being bought out by private equity firms. They're being bought out by strategic interests. And our customers are wanting to work with just one big supplier. That, combined with the forces in the industry and the fact that we'd really like to grow at a more rapid pace, led us to look for a private equity partner. I have a pretty extensive background in mergers and acquisitions, so I conducted the process myself, which led us to partner with a private equity firm. That partnership has already allowed us to acquire another company on the other side of the state that's also a complete medical device molder. That's all they do is medical device molding. And it effectively doubled the size of MedBio within a year. There's a term most people should be familiar with called due diligence. In our case, it was literally a 60 to 75 day window where we provided all of the documentation and information needed for our private equity partner to make a decision, not only on whether they were going to buy us, but what that purchase price was going to be. Pretty critical to everybody involved. DELMIAWORKS allows you to provide data to not only yourselves, but potential acquirers or other investors in multiple different ways. You can slice and dice data in many fashions, by customer, by revenue stream, by profitability, by work center. You name it, you can do it. DELMIAWORKS allowed us to provide our potential partners with information in a rapid fashion that there's just no way we could have done a proper ERP system. The other thing that's important about DELMIAWORKS is that somebody that's acquiring you wants to make sure that you can handle potential growth. One of the big things they're looking for is capability and your ability to expand at a rapid pace. If you don't have a solid ERP system in place like DELMIAWORKS, you're going to have a hard time expanding or acquiring.
DELMIAWORKS really provided us access to information at our fingertips. We had all kinds of consultants that Graham Partners, when they acquired us, hired, and they wanted everything from operational reports to financial reports, most of which we had already, but some of it, do a quick modification to a report and we have the information they need. So it was extremely helpful. The first acquisition we made happened to have DELMIAWORKS, and we actually helped them pull their data and create reports with our staff, and that made it much easier and much quicker. If you look at when we made the acquisition, and it was a smaller company, they weren't quite as sophisticated. Had they not had DELMIAWORKS, we probably would have been sitting for days and days working with spreadsheets, pulling old reports. Ever since we've acquired that company with DELMIAWORKS, everything has gone fantastic. It's smooth. We're now getting the reporting that we need. You've done a great job at doing that.
If you don't have a current ERP system in place and you're thinking you would like to acquire somebody or be acquired, you're probably not really at that stage where you want to do that yet. You really need to be at a stage where you have your ERP system in place and up and running. And for us, DELMIAWORKS was really the one that made the difference.
Welcome to SolidWorks Live. I'm your host, Michael Steves, and we're coming to you on a variety of platforms today: Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn even, and Instagram. And of course, live.solidworks.com. So thank you for joining us today. One of the first things you may notice is that we are not on a shop floor, but we've gathered a team of leaders in the industry to talk about the shop floor and how SolidWorks and DELMIAWORKS fit in. Because, you know, in the SolidWorks community, the shop floor is kind of a popular topic. So I think that's maybe where we start off things today. But let's get some introductions out of the way first. Joining me today, Sue Kavanaugh from SolidWorks. We have Bobby Mathenge from GoEngineer and Gabby Morris with DELMIAWORKS.
Woohoo!
Thank you all for joining us. So, Sue, can you actually tell us a little bit about your role at SolidWorks?
Sure, Michael. I'm a client executive with our corporate accounts team, and my role is to work with some of our largest customers as they evaluate and then adopt our technology.
Awesome.
Hello, I'm Bobby. I am an implementation specialist with over 20 years of ERP experience coming from GoEngineer, one of Solidworks' longest running partners.
I'm Gabby. Thanks for having me. I am the manager of the DELMIAWORKS Partner Enablement Team, and I'm a senior instructor with the DELMIAWORKS University, and I've been with IQM at DELMIAWORKS 18 and a half years.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about this history of IQMS becoming DELMIAWORKS and how it fits into the 3D Experience portfolio. And I gotta, I'm coming from the design point of view here and thinking about, some of the data management tools that SolidWorks brings to market, and talking about being out in the field and seeing a couple of ERPs in place. And I just have to say, one thing to keep in mind as we talk about how DELMIAWORKS and SolidWorks fit into the shop floor here, it's scalable, it's modular.
Right.
And actually, SolidWorks and IQMS, now DELMIAWORKS, have a lot in common here of how we've kind of grown together.
Yes, we have. We started from humble beginnings years ago, and it was all about fulfilling a need. We have a need for a tool, and this tool needs to do this certain function for us in our environments, and that's about where it began. And so through the years of progress and much success from our customer standpoint, DELMIAWORKS, just like SolidWorks, was able to grow with that trend.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into the shop floor. What comes to mind when we talk about the shop floor? So I know from my perspective, the shop floor, this is actually a topic that we've covered on SolidWorks Live before. So from earlier this year, from our World Conference, we had a shop floor, and it actually was running DELMIAWORKS, connecting all the different machines together into one system.
It was so cool to see that.
To see it all work and get parts made.
That's
right. And I think that's one thing, especially from the SolidWorks community side, is like, okay, I can make parts all day long, but can we get them made, please? So this is where we're doing it again. At 3D Experience World in February in Nashville, we will have the shop floor and the playground so that we have DELMIAWORKS there connecting all different machines. It's going to be bigger and better this year than ever before. So really excited about that. So that's one thing that comes to mind when I think of the shop floor. The other piece is kind of the SolidWorks solutions and what it brings to not only the design and engineering, but beyond. So this is where we get into tools like SolidWorks Plastics. Taking a look at, okay, I've got the CAD model. Do I just throw it over the wall to manufacturing to get it made, or can I do more? Well, SolidWorks Plastics, we can do more. I can actually take a look at and predict any manufacturing defects before we cut any steel. We can optimize the fill, the pack, and the final shape of how that part is going to turn out. So I can kind of optimize the quality and change the design and kind of get ready to get it made so we can make it right the first time. But there's other tools. SolidWorks Inspection for creating inspection documentation, which I know will come in when we talk about quality a little bit later, or SolidWorks Composer to create assembly instructions so that technicians on the shop floor know how to assemble these products with ease. I think ease of use is going to be a big piece of today's conversation. So, Sue, from your perspective as a client executive, I can imagine you've been to a couple shop floors.
I have, and I actually started my career working on a shop floor, programming NC and CNC machines. So anytime I go into a new company, the first thing that we do is take a tour of the shop floor. It helps me to understand not only their manufacturing process, but really how the entire company operates just by walking through the shop floor.
Yeah, and Bobby, as an implementation specialist, I can imagine that's where you start.
It's where I start, it's where I live, it's where the implementation ends. The shop floor is a very personal experience for me. My mother was in injection molding on the shop floor for over 30 years, starting in upstate New York with a large toy manufacturer, moving us out to the Midwest and working in automotive. So it's a personal experience for me. One thing about working with the shop floor, you get a chance to develop relationships and experience different personalities, and creating a collaborative effort and bringing the shop floor into that business process improvement is extremely fulfilling. Whatever you can do to make somebody's job a little bit easier and their day a little bit better is very rewarding.
That's so true. The shop floor of any manufacturing facility. It's really the heart of that business. So you're right, the people bring that and that collaboration, and that's really where the SolidWorks designs of things and come to the, let's say, the production floor for DELMIAWORKS, if you will. That's really where the magic happens.
Yeah, and actually the shop floor was actually one of my first jobs, getting into manufacturing and engineering and design. And that's where I had the opportunity to get into both the shop floor and into the design side, and see kind of, okay, what
Wow.
goes into all the information that then gets out to the shop floor
Yeah.
to optimize some of these operations. But getting in there, there's a big piece that helps drive business here. And from the design side, it's like if I'm creating a new product, or maybe we got some feedback from our customers and we make a new revision, an improvement to an existing design, there's a big sales aspect to this to help drive the business here. So Gabby, can you explain a little bit more of how sales fits into what's going on?
Well, sales is the pipeline, the beginning, the gateway to the production floor. It is demand for our service or our product. So with any true business, we have to have that demand for our product or our service. And sales is the way to start that pipeline flow, if you will, to the production floor.
So I can see if a customer has a request, are we going to be able to meet that request?
I hear that from a lot of salespeople out there. They may be in a meeting with a new customer or on the phone with a new customer, and they need to make a commitment. Can they give them the job that they want done by a certain time at a certain price? And they have a choice. They can say yes and then live with the consequences, or they can say, I need more information. I need to go back to my company and do a little bit of research, and I'll get back to you in either a few hours or a few days. But what I hear is often when that does occur and they do get back to their customer, they have lost the job. It's been awarded to somebody else.
Yeah, from the design side, if I've made a part, I need to get it made. I call a machine shop, hey, can you make this? They say, let me look into it. I'll get back to you. Guess what I'm doing? I'm calling the next shop.
Right. That is so true. And DELMIAWORKS addressed that very issue that it's all too common. And they did so through the use of capable to promise. Capable to promise allows us to see in the system in real time, do I have enough parts to send out to you today? If not, when can I fulfill the balance of that request? So capable to promise gives you all that access and ties in really well, ties directly into the sales to the production floor.
Yeah, this is part of the ease of use I think
Yes.
DELMIAWORKS brings to the picture of giving kind of a no-go gauge
True.
to the salesperson, and being able to drill into and say, well, if I can't meet it, why not? Is it a machine issue? Is it a
Right.
resource issue? Are there not enough people?
Materials on time.
And if we push out to another date,
That's
will it
right.
work? And it gives me instant feedback. So
That's right.
there's a little bit more than goes on to getting the order, because it's like, if I get the order, now what?
Right.
So because there's a lot of intelligence that's already in the system. Bobby, can you tell us more about what's in there?
Sure, getting that order is great. That handles now, but what about tomorrow? What about next month? What about your planning aspect? And with the forecasting and budgeting module, you can do both financial planning and production planning and drive that demand through MRP and fill up that pipeline. So you can plan accordingly, your capacity, your labor, your materials.
Yeah, because I've seen, when I've been out to a couple shop floors, I see magnet boards, I see whiteboards, hot lists, Excel spreadsheets, trying to manage all of what's going on in the operations of the shop. And from the sales perspective, it's like, great, I got the order. Okay, now what? You got to figure out all the different moving pieces and figure out what goes where to be able to deliver on that promise. But here we can be confident in that making those promises while you still have the customer on the phone. So that's really cool. The data is readily available, I guess, is the big piece of it. And this data, and once we get that order, okay, now what? We've got to worry about the entire production and the multiple processes that go on. And DELMIAWORKS helps here as well. So, Bobby, can you start us out here and help distinguish between the production and the process?
Sure, absolutely. So you've got two things that work together to provide different types of data. You've got your real-time production monitoring. You need to know, how many pieces am I making? How much scrap do I have? Is my machine down? How is my capacity? And that is really important in your day-to-day business. And then on the other end of that, you have process monitoring, which is really quality and engineering driven. So your customer may have very exact specifications that you need to follow. Are you making those parts to those exact specifications? Is your machine running hot? Is it running too cold? Is the pressure too high? So these real-time process and production monitoring provides mountainous amounts of data that can be turned into KPIs and dashboards immediately, so you can review that.
Yeah, you mentioned mountains of data, and what I hear from executives and business owners is that's great to have all that data, but there are 3 or 4 KPIs that I live by, and I want to be able to see them at any time, day or night.
You know, both of you mentioned a couple of things that I want to kind of touch on, and that is the production monitoring, the process monitoring, the KPIs. Our system, DELMIAWORKS, provides that instant, real-time visibility, clear, tangible data that the executive can see from his office, what is driving those KPIs from a smart page BI dashboard all the way down to the end users on the production floor, so that they can respond instantaneously to what is going on there. And through smart page, shop floor user interfaces. So all of those applications allow us to respond and proceed in real time.
Yeah, and these are configurable, right? So if it's getting information from the shop floor, putting in information from the shop floor too,
right,
for this real-time monitoring and feeding it from the shop floor to the top floor, so that we have, we can identify any issues, be able to act on them right away to make sure that the business is profitable. And I think we'll talk about that one a little bit more later. But from a mom and pop shop, I mean, this is a solution that can grow. It grows with you as your needs increase. You've got more people to hire, more machines to include. I mean,
it's scalable, just like you said.
So there's a lot of great points here, and depending on the different shop, if it's plastic injection molding that we talked about earlier, if it's a sheet metal house, whatever it may be. I mean, there's so much different types of data, and DELMIAWORKS can gather this to improve those operational efforts. And we don't have enough time today to talk about all of these different examples. So I encourage the folks at home or at their office to go to 3ds.com/DELMIAWORKS to take a look at other case studies, white papers, customer success stories, to see how some of these customers are putting this into practice.
Very good.
So, okay, we're making parts. Are they good parts? Are they quality parts?
Ah, good question.
So, Sue, I can imagine as you've been out to some of these shops, quality is critical.
It absolutely is. And any company that you walk into in their lobby, usually the first thing you see is their quality award on the wall. AS 9100, ISO award, Vendor of the Year award. And those awards don't come lightly. There are a lot of moving parts to quality. When there is an issue, it can be very difficult to get to the root cause of that issue because of all the data that you have to go through.
Well, it's ever so critical, and with DELMIAWORKS, it's one system. It's easy, it's similar to the sales process that we talked about before. It's all inclusive, so that being able to find that root cause and take action on it to fix it, so that you're not delivering any problematic parts to earn those top tier supplier awards.
I want to go back and mention something, add to what you both just said, and that was, one, we're talking about these small to medium businesses, the mom and pop shops that through the use of the system can scale their businesses. But quality is such a critical point to that. And our quality modules provide that clear, defined data. So they're not drowning in those quality data points. They can actually see, through engineering change orders, through corrective actions, through deviations, all of that from the time that the material comes in the door all the way through the production process. So DELMIAWORKS provides, through our quality modules, those key points of quality data, even to the small mom and pop shops.
I know about engineering change, like you mentioned. If I've got to make a change to a part or an assembly, I've got to be concerned with, okay, what drawings do I have to update? Where else is this part or assembly used to understand what work I need to do as a designer? And Solidworks tools provide easy to use solutions to do a where to use, easily look up, where else do I have to touch the different data to get my job done. And it sounds like it's very similar with DELMIAWORKS of essentially doing a where to use. So if you have material like you mentioned, if you got a lot number, plug in that lot number, where is it used, so we can address, okay, did we sell anything that has this, or is it all in-house, so we can identify and address the problem and get it fixed as quick as we can.
Yeah. The great thing about that, Michael, is all of that information is on demand and at your fingertips for that design engineer. And even though that's a small part of the big picture, what's critical is you can broadcast that information and communicate that in a workflow to the rest of the organization. So you can prevent obsolescence. You can look at your capacity immediately. You know if that change is going to affect other customers. So that's one thing that's very nice about this system is it is all inclusive, and you get rid of the silos and open up that communication to everybody.
That's a good point, because with using these quality modules, you can look to see the various statuses, and I think you already mentioned this. You can see the various statuses of the material. Where is it at in that pipeline? How is this going to impact, downstream versus upstream, and help me better prepare my plan of action?
Right. Taking that action requires doing some changes.
Right. I can see with all that documentation that it can really reduce time required for an audit and really minimize the pain during an audit.
Yeah, the audit piece is so critical. I mean, I've been with organizations that use like Solidworks PDM, some of the data management, lifecycle management tools that we talked about earlier, where if having those in place, it keeps track of who did what, when, what did it impact, and doing an audit on that, it's simple. The system is doing that traceability, that audit trail for you.
That's
and likewise,
correct.
DELMIAWORKS is doing the same
While
thing.
maintaining all that documentation.
Right.
That's right.
Great. So we're making quality parts. This is a good next step where we almost have the part out the door. But this is, and we've talked about a lot of automation that DELMIAWORKS brings to the table for the different machines out on the shop floor. If there's any robots, if there's lights out manufacturing type of thing, 24/7 type manufacturing facilities, and the software automating, bringing all that stuff together really makes it a very powerful solution to get parts made easily. But again, have we shipped them? Are they somewhere in the warehouse?
Yeah, where are they at?
Yeah, Bobby,
Inventory,
can
absolutely.
you tell us a little bit about how DELMIAWORKS helps us there?
Sure. Your warehouse is also a very unique entity of your organization. They are the material movers, which is critical in any manufacturing process. So the scanning and labeling within DELMIAWORKS is extremely useful. The labeling templates alone are extensive. And people kind of use labeling as an oversight. I had a production manager in my last implementation who came in the room during a kickoff and said, if you do not print a label on day one, this will be a fail. And everybody kind of laughed and snickered and not realizing that that label is very important. You receive your inventory in the door with that label, you ship it out. Your customer has very specific requirements for that label, so DELMIAWORKS really helps to facilitate that process.
It's interesting that you would say that. I was with one of our customers last week, and they're using DELMIAWORKS, and they're implementing automatic label generation in each of the work cells.
Great feature.
Yeah.
What it really boils down to is every time we touch inventory, we lose money. So inventory is money. And when I have the ability to see my inventory, where is it? How much do I have? And can I use it? These are all vital, key pieces to the flow of my warehouse.
Yeah. And then there's a cost there. Yeah, every time you touch that inventory, it costs money. And of course, moving inventory, that warehouse management is a fraction of the cost.
Right.
There's multiple pieces to be concerned with in terms of the finance picture. So let's talk a little bit about this, because we're making parts, we're making quality parts, they're getting out the door.
Right.
But are we making money? Are we profitable?
I hear that a lot as well, and it's I think most business owners know they're making money, they're profitable. But what they don't know is exactly what their margin is, and that's a difficult thing to quantify, but it's very important. In order to be able to grow your business or acquire other businesses, you need to know what your margin is, and you need to maintain a specific level.
With the use of DELMIAWORKS and the financial side of the system, we can, we talked about sales orders. Purchase orders are the natural, other side of that wall, if you will, where I'm handling material requirements and whatnot. Well, through DELMIAWORKS, I'm able to issue that PO. I can track my costs of receiving that material in. I can track the costs of using that material on the production floor, the cost of production. So these tools bring us the ability to analyze our job costing, our process costing, to see where we really are in that profit zone, within that margin, if you will. So again, these tools help the small to medium business manufacturers really compete in the market.
Yeah, that's ever so critical, is that competition.
It provides scalability.
Absolutely.
You have access to multi-company, multi-site, even multiple warehouses. So you can do the consolidation and the roll-up for one balance sheet. So it definitely can grow with your business.
Well, I can see that through if it's just organic growth or if it's through acquisitions.
Absolutely.
This is a critical piece of growing that business. And I've seen this on the design side, right, of bringing together different design firms, whether through acquisitions, natural growth, different sites, what CAD tools are being used, and how we can connect those together to a platform like 3D Experience provides. And like the SolidWorks capabilities of being able to bring in native data if it comes from online supplier, an acquired firm, legacy data. So there's some power here and some similarities in terms of how SolidWorks and DELMIAWORKS can work with that growth. There's two other things I want to hit on how they relate. One is kind of as we've talked about already. If a change is made in one place, it's seen everywhere,
That's
and
right.
it's instantly updated. A very powerful capability to make sure everyone in the company is on the same page at the same time.
Everyone stays connected.
Everyone's connected. So we've talked about kind of a couple customer examples earlier today, and this is another piece, is how customer focused SolidWorks is. Making it accessible, usable, easy to use, for engineers, designers. DELMIAWORKS is doing the same thing, and to drive improvements. We mentioned grow as you grow earlier, but if a customer has some feedback on the product, can we do this? Can we do that? If there was a tool to do that, and that's one of the favorite parts about my job here at SolidWorks, is being able to show off some of those capabilities.
Right.
But it's there's so much of it is focused on the customer, because the customers help driving the improvement of that product, and we see that with DELMIAWORKS. And now that DELMIAWORKS is a part of the Dassault Systems family,
Yes.
and we have shared resources to improve the life of these products.
And we are so incredibly excited about that.
So any other thoughts to share on?
I do. First, I have to tell you, we are anxiously engaged in our partner enablement boot camps, and one with GoEngineer. So Bobby's team and DELMIAWORKS partner enablement team have been working together to get DELMIAWORKS out there, and we are so incredibly excited about the new offerings that are going to come through that, as well as the DELMIAWORKS family, partnering with the SolidWorks family. So that's a huge undertaking, but we also know it's going to be a fantastic growing opportunity.
Yeah. And Bobby, this puts you in a pretty strategic position as well.
Sure, it sure does. Being with GoEngineer, that has a proven track record of great executions with SolidWorks, this is a very exciting opportunity to be involved in this journey with you. We're excited.
And Sue, from your perspective, I can imagine it's a similar story.
Absolutely. Our customers have been asking for a product like this, for an ERP system. I'm so grateful to our leadership team for partnering with IQMS and bringing us DELMIAWORKS. It's going to be a very valuable tool to our customer base.
It's a very exciting time to be a SolidWorks customer, DELMIAWORKS customer, and we're getting ready for a fantastic event coming up in February. 3D Experience World 2020 in Nashville, Tennessee. Mentioned a little bit earlier, but this is where you're, of course, going to be able to see SolidWorks. You're going to be able to see a lot of DELMIAWORKS as well, much bigger than before. Gabby, can you tell us a little bit more about what we can expect to see?
Sure. So in years past, Pinnacle, our customers would come, participate in our general sessions, our breakout sessions, hands-on training, and really get to dive into what's coming next. So we're all anxiously awaiting to see what next development is going to reveal. And this time we are, again, as I mentioned, DELMIAWORKS family, partnering with SolidWorks family, now going to be a part of the 3D Experience world. And we are so incredibly excited about doing that. So I can't contain it.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully those of you at home, at your office can attend. Everyone's invited. Head to 3dexperienceworld.com to register. But unfortunately, if you can't attend, I mean, I hope everyone can come. It's going to be, it gets bigger and better every year.
It is.
You can go to live.solidworks.com to watch our next and our upcoming broadcast to showcase, what's happening at 3D Experience World to do so. So we've talked about a lot today. We mentioned going to 3ds.com/DELMIAWORKS to find some case studies, customer success videos, see how well this is working, especially with the proven track record of IQMS, now DELMIAWORKS. And also, if you're ready to get engaged with the DELMIAWORKS team, you can head to solidworks.com/DELMIAWORKS to put in your information and see how well this solution can work for your business. So thank you for attending SolidWorks Live. We're growing the number of sites that this is on, so give a comment, give a like, and make sure you're subscribed and followed, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all.